Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Preston Endress. Pennsylvania State Police say 2 individuals are in custody and 2 additional suspects are still on the run following an incident on Interstate 81 Wednesday morning. According to officials, Mahanoy City Police located and occupied a stolen vehicle around 4 a.m. and attempted to conduct a traffic stop. Investigators say the vehicle had been stolen out of Beaver Meadows. A pursuit ensued, and the vehicle traveled northbound onto Interstate 81. In the area of the Interstate 81 northbound ramp for Interstate 80 in Butler Township, officials say the suspects lost control of the vehicle and crashed. The 4 occupants of the vehicle then reportedly fled the scene on foot. 2 of the suspects were taken into custody, but 2 remain at large. State police say the 2 suspects in custody are an adult male and juvenile male, but their names have not yet been released. One of the remaining suspects is believed to be in the Drums area. He is described as a Hispanic male standing 5 feet 8 inches tall and wearing black shorts and a black graphic t-shirt. State police and local law enforcement are canvassing the area in search of the suspect. The public is warned not to approach this individual and to report anything that seems suspicious. Anyone with information regarding the incident can call Pennsylvania State Police in Hazleton at 570-459-3890. Stay tuned on WYLN News for updates on this developing story. Hazleton City Police are investigating a reported shooting. According to officers, the shooting took place in the area of North Vine Street and 14th Street around 1 p.m. on Tuesday, June 17th. Upon arriving at the scene, police say several shell casings were found in the area. Through further investigation, officers say they were able to identify the vehicle involved in the incident and attempted to conduct a traffic stop. Instead of stopping, officials say the vehicle fled at a high rate of speed. According to police, the occupants eventually bailed out of the vehicle, leaving it to roll into a parked box truck in the area of West Spruce Street and North Locust Street. Police say multiple individuals have been taken into custody in connection with the incident. However, the investigation remains ongoing. Additional details have not yet been released. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked to call 911. Fire crews responded to a working structure fire in Hazleton Wednesday morning. According to officials, crews were called to the scene at the intersection of North Church Street and Maple Street around 4 a.m. Pennsylvania State Police and fire marshals are investigating the cause of the fire. It is unknown at this time if any injuries were sustained in the blaze. Coming up on WYLN News, a homeless shelter in Wilkes-Barre will soon be closing its doors. Plus, junior ROTC cadets in Hazleton travel to Johnstown for a unique camp experience. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network and Jefferson Health. Investing in your well-being and building healthier communities because more expertise and convenient care mean better outcomes and a healthier you. Learn more at lvhn.org/Jefferson. We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today. If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Cheers Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in at 610 North Broad Street in West Hazleton, 570-454-7229. Cheers is proud to be celebrating 70 years in business. Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
Welcome back to WYLN News. An overnight homeless shelter in Wilkes-Barre will be soon closing. Keystone Mission officials announced on Tuesday that they will be closing their shelter located on Union Street and Penn Avenue in Wilkes-Barre. The Innovation Center for Homelessness and Poverty was opened in 2023 and provided overnight shelter for men and women experiencing homelessness. According to Wilkes-Barre Mayor George Brown, the decision to close the shelter was the result of funding shortages. The shelter is projected to close in about 4 weeks. The overnight shelter in Scranton is also scheduled to close. However, officials say the Wilkes-Barre Transformation Center located near Sherman Hills will remain open. A man is wanted by the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. Bobby Hollenbach is wanted on retail theft charges. He is also wanted by the Ralpho Township Police Department in Ellisburg on a charge of rape. Hollenbach is known to have ties to the Cole Township area. Anyone with information regarding his whereabouts is asked to contact the Carbon County Sheriff's Office at 570-325-2821. 12 JROTC cadets from Hazleton Area High School traveled to Johnstown earlier this month to participate in the Junior ROTC Cadet Leadership Camp at Camp Odyssey. The camp ran from June 3rd to June 7th. During the experience, the cadets were joined by peers from 10 other JROTC programs across the state. While at the camp, the cadets participated in a variety of adventure-based activities, such as obstacle courses and rappelling to develop leadership skills, teamwork, and confidence. Coming up on Berwick's News Choice, we learn about dementia on this week's segment of Wellness Wednesday. Plus, Chris Fulmer leads us down the path through history with Shamokin Part 3. And stay right here on WYLN. We'll be right back.
Lehigh Valley Health Network is now proudly part of Jefferson Health. And when two healthcare leaders come together for the community, you can expect more. More locations, more clinical trials, more breakthrough treatments. Jefferson Health and Lehigh Valley Health Network. Together for the future of care.
Hey, did you know WYLN posts news stories and other bonus content on social media all week long? The Weather Kids, Fresh from the Farm, Everyday Heroes, Let's Talk Sports, Feel Good Friday, daily news stories, and more. Visit WYLNTV.com, Facebook, and YouTube to check it out. WYLN, the local leader on social media. We're your local network. Attention WYLN viewers, WYLN TV can now be seen on the Hazleton Service Electric Cablevision HD tier, channel 507, and over the air at 35.1. WYLN, we're your local network.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Solo Spaceman.
Watch Solo Spaceman on WYLN Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 7, and Sundays at 4:30. When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
Hi, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Lisa Marie, and I am here at LVPG Geriatric and Internal Medicine in Brook Hill Square in Cunningham, and I am with my longtime friend. You probably don't even need an introduction, but Dr. Philip Benyo, who you have been such a pillar in our community as a provider, as a doctor, and so well loved by so many of your patients and everyone you come in contact with.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here, and it comes from a higher power. I was born and raised here. It's my 45th year of practicing in the community, so it's been a good run, and we're going to continue to help you row the boat.
Well, thank you so much for that. So I was talking to Dr. Benyo, and I said, let's do something on dementia. We hear so much about it. It's, prevalent, in a lot of our families, including mine. There's several types of dementias, correct? So we just don't categorize it as Alzheimer's and that's it. Could you give us a little background on it?
Sure. If you live long enough, you're going to eventually get some type of dementing illness, which is sometimes confused with people who have memory issues. That's a separate kettle of fish, although can be connected with a dementing illness. The typical Alzheimer's patient is a patient that over years develops memory issues, changes in personality and behavior, may get lost driving, put their wallet in the refrigerator, things that are just a little off. And usually it's the spouse that brings it to our attention, and they should. Now, the majority of Alzheimer's patients can be traced to genetics. If you look back on their parents, they may have had a dementing illness. It could also be due to lifestyle, alcohol, medications which can affect the mind, trauma, hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, the list goes on. Sleep apnea is another sort of a diagnosis that nobody thinks of in seeing where this dementing illness came from. That's the majority, Lisa. The other big part are what are called vascular dementias.
Right.
Now, these do not go as slow as an Alzheimer's patient. The vascular dementias go in what we call a stepwise fashion. People are fine, and then all of a sudden they drop off. And then they stabilize and then drop off again. That's because of mini strokes, if you will, for lack of a better word. Again, the usual culprits are at bay: hypertension, diabetes, the list goes on and on. There are other dementing illnesses that you can see with Parkinson's disease, traumatic brain injuries. That sort of rounds out most of the cases that we see.
So, how does one, when recognized, usually like you said, by a spouse, a family member, how do you determine as a provider if someone comes to you and says, I'm noticing this, or my family member, how do you determine which one it may be and how you're going to treat this person or how you're going to guide the family?
True. Well, what we do is we try to establish the diagnosis first. And as we mentioned earlier, there could be a number of suspects in the cause of this patient's illness. We take a detailed history and physical. We do a mini mental exam which involves a clock draw. Believe it or not, if you make
Yeah.
a circle and put the numbers in, patients have trouble doing that because they've lost part of their reality. Memory issues, we ask them to repeat certain phrases or draw things or repeat 3 words that we give them earlier.
Right.
And then we make sure there's nothing else at bay. One of the things you need to be mindful of is certain vitamin deficiencies, particularly B12, can give rise to dementing illnesses. We see this from time to time. So a thorough history, physical, blood work, and then imaging studies help to sort of seal the deal, if you will, making sure you're not dealing with anything else like, God forbid, a brain tumor or things along those lines.
So yeah, so there could be, like you said, a lot of those underlying things that could be contributing to any type of memory loss, and to identify it, you do need to have a thorough look at everything.
In my line of work of doing elderly medicine, less is more. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are on a lot of medicines that they don't need or shouldn't be on. And sometimes just doing a history of their medicine use and try to trim that tree, if you will. After you get on 4 or 5 medications, Lisa, the medicines start interacting with each other and you.
Yeah.
And as we age, our clearance of these medicines through the liver or the kidney are also impaired. So again, taking supplements, for example, that you don't need to be on because everybody wants to do something to improve themselves, you're only feeding the fish and maybe causing some trouble along the way.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. So I know we're almost out of time, but I want to continue this conversation. So maybe we do a part 2. What do you think?
That sounds terrific.
Sounds great. We're going to do a part 2, give you some more information about dementia, and hopefully, you know, what you can do as a loved one that noticing some of these things on our next Wellness Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dr. Benya.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Renai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
This week on Let's Talk Chiropractic, Nicole Bookman and our star Damien is going to explain why the birth process could be traumatizing to the baby and how a chiropractic adjustment is safe, gentle, and maybe every baby should get a chiropractic analysis just to see if their neck's in alignment. Watch the show.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
Hello, I'm Wyln historian Chris Fulmer. Pennsylvania's communities are filled with interesting history. Come with me as we discover the people, events, industries, and other historic facets of local towns.
A Path Through History is sponsored by the Old Jail Museum, 128 West Broad Street in Jim Thorpe. Call Call 570-325-5259 or visit them online at theoldjailmuseum.com.
Trolley lines reached from town to town as the 20th century approached. Shamokin would be crisscrossed by the tracks of a few different trolley lines during this time. The Shamokin Street Railway began operations in 1891. It would be reorganized as the Shamokin and Edgewood Electric Railway in 1900 and remained in service through 1929 when buses took over its route. Shamokin would also be connected to Mount Carmel in 1894 when the tracks of the Shamokin and Mount Carmel Electric Railway opened for service. The line was renamed to the Shamokin and Mount Carmel Transit Company in 1906 and operated under this name until it was also replaced by bus service in 1936. One benefit of the rise of trolley service was the fact that many trolley companies built amusement parks along their rides to increase ridership. For the Shamokin and Edgewood Electric Railway, which was led by Congressman Monroe Culp, it was a no-brainer to join this trend. In 1905, the company opened their own park on 97 acres of land outside Shamokin that could only be reached by the trolley. It was originally called Indian Park, but after a few years it was given its more lasting name of Edgewood Park. Taking advantage of deep woods and with many trails and a lake in which patrons could take boat rides, the park soon became a popular place to beat the heat during the summer. Its initial prize attraction was its Touring the Alps Scenic Railway roller coaster. It was destroyed in a windstorm in 1923, but subsequently rebuilt. Another popular attraction was the School of Mines, an indoor roller coaster that, like Knoebel's Black Diamond ride today, took guests on a trip through a stimulated coal mine inside a 4-story building. A pool, with space for 2 million gallons of water, opened in 1926. A carousel, bumper cars, the Temple of Mirth Funhouse, a penny arcade, train ride, and a deer park were also feature attractions at the park over the years. Edgewood Park was also home to a dance hall that attracted big names such as Duke Ellington over the years. The beginning of the end for Edgewood Park came in 1929 when trolley service to the park ended. Slowly but surely, the park's attractions were removed one by one as the years progressed. The carousel, School of Mines ride, and dance hall would be the final attractions left standing, and by the mid-1950s, they too would be torn down, leaving only the pool and lake. Edgewood Park officially closed in 1964. Today, the Shamokin Area High School complex stands in the park's former site. Baseball fans in Shamokin had much to root for as the 1910s began, with several local players becoming established major league stars. One was Jake Daubert, who reached the majors with the then Brooklyn Dodgers in 1910. The son of a coal miner, Daubert himself mined coal during the off-season, having started in the mines as a breaker boy at age 12. Indeed, when he was first offered a professional contract in 1906 by the Interstate League's Kane Mountaineers, he was not sure he wanted to give up guaranteed money for mining to play professionally, but his wife convinced him that it was worth a try. He would burst strongly onto the scene with the Dodgers, hitting .307 in his second season and becoming one of the National League's best defensive second basemen. Daubert would spend 9 seasons in Brooklyn, winning the Ballot title in 1913 and 1914, and being named National League MVP in 1913 as well. Daubert was traded to Cincinnati in 1919 after he had sued notoriously cheap Dodgers owner Charles Ebbets for not paying him or the other players for the final month of the 1918 season. He immediately helped lead the Reds to a World Series title, scoring twice in the deciding game, which many of the opposing White Sox players in deep with gamblers attempted to throw, leading to the infamous Black Sox scandal. Daubert was an early proponent of player unionization, serving as vice president of the Baseball Players Fraternity, which pushed the owners for better playing conditions. At the end of the 1924 season, Daubert went for surgery for stomach pain that was believed to be appendicitis, but complications would arise after the operation, and he passed away on October 9, 1924. He rests today in Pottsville's Charles Baber Cemetery. Jake Daubert is a member of the Reds Team Hall of Fame today. Just as good a player was Stan Kowalewski. The son of Polish immigrants and one of 4 brothers to play professional ball, he got his first experience with the Tri-State League's Lancaster Red Roses in 1909. He'd be a September call-up for the Philadelphia A's in 1912, but with many strong pitchers already established on the roster, he was sent back to the minors after the season. It would be 4 years later when the then Cleveland Indians would give him a more formal chance in the majors. Kowalewski took the opportunity and ran with it. In 9 seasons with the team, he excelled on the mound, leading the Indians to the 1920 World Series title, pitching 3 complete games in the series. Although his best pitch, the spitball, was banned for safety reasons in 1920, Kovaleski is one of 17 pitchers that relied on it who were allowed to keep using it, and he in fact led the American League in strikeouts that season. After he was traded from Cleveland, where he was never truly happy playing, Kovaleski played for the Washington Senators and New York Yankees before retiring in 1927 with 215 career wins and 981 strikeouts. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1969. Stan Kovaleski died in 1984 and today rests in South Bend, Indiana's St. Joseph Cemetery. Despite the American promise of equality for all, women still did not have the right to vote in the 1910s. Many were determined to fight for that right no matter what. Among them was Kate Heffelfinger, who was born to a prominent Shamokin family in 1889. Her grandfather was Kimber Cleaver, who was given credit for coming up with the idea of laying a communications cable across the Atlantic. By 1917, she had joined the National Women's Party led by Alice Paul, which had vowed to push President Woodrow Wilson hard to give women voting rights. Wilson, although sympathetic at heart to their cause, did not think a federal women's voting law was the right answer, and walked out on an NWP delegation that had tried to reason with him on it during a January 1917 meeting. The NWP then began what became known as the silent picketing in front of the White House, marching in shifts to try and force the issue. Kate Heffelfinger was among those who marched for her rights on Pennsylvania Avenue over the ensuing months. At first, the protests were tolerated, but after America's entry into World War I later in 1917, the government decided to crack down in the interest of preserving national unity. Heffelfinger would be arrested on October 6, 1917, on the supposed charge of blocking traffic in front of the White House. She was sentenced to 6 months in prison and sent, along with many other suffragettes, to Virginia's Occoquan prison. There, many of the women would receive often brutal treatment from unsympathetic male guards who frequently beat, kicked, and choked their prisoners. By November, Heffelfinger had gone on a hunger strike to protest this treatment, which led prison officials to force-feed her to counteract this tactic. She would eventually be transferred to a hospital before she was released on November 27, 1917. An appeals court had ruled she and the other suffragettes were being held illegally in Virginia, given they had been arrested in Washington, D.C. Their convictions would then be fully vacated as unconstitutional in March 1918. Heffelfinger would be arrested again in August 1918 after a demonstration in Lafayette Square, but hers and her companions' efforts would be worth it in the end, as ultimately the 19th Amendment, guaranteeing American women the right to vote, was ratified on August 18, 1920. Heffelfinger exercised her new rights by running for Congress, although she would lose to fellow Shamokin resident William McConnell. In her later years, Kate Heffelfinger would begin behaving erratically, possibly traumatized by the death of her mother and brother, and perhaps amplified by the effects of her mistreatment in prison. She became a major hoarder, filled her house with free-roaming chickens, and slept on hay bales by her front door. Finally, she was committed to the Danville State Hospital after throwing a rocking chair through her neighbor's window, and died there in 1958. Kate Heffelfinger rests today in Shamokin Cemetery. Work in the mines was dangerous business in the Shamokin area and beyond. Injuries were frequent and often brutal. Thus, it was a boon to area miners when the Shamokin State Hospital opened in 1912. Like many other hospitals in the coal region, its original core patients would be injured miners. For a time part of a state-run hospital system, the hospital was divested by Pennsylvania in 1992 and changed its name to Shamokin Area Community Hospital. It has since become part of the Geisinger Hospital system.
Make sure you bring your umbrella.
You're watching WYLN TV 35.